Before we find out what happened to Laurie, because we will find out what happened to her in the end, I want to look at this through an academic lens. And when I first looked at this case, I thought of Lifton's theory of thought reform, because we've looked at it before, and we looked at it in relation to cult members of the Sarah Lawrence, because actually Laurie and Chad were in somewhat of a cult, right? There was a group of people that believed in their prophecy, in their doomsday theory. So were essentially, I don't know if we can call them cult leaders, but they were fringing on that, okay? And we looked at it in the Sarah Lawrence case and at how isolation leads to manipulation, and things like love bombing and gaslighting can create the perfect method of transforming the way that a group of people can come to believe the same thing, even if the beliefs are not logical. So essentially, the group believe that Charles is Ned. The group believe in this light and dark people. They believe in zombies. They believe in the apocalypse happening in 2020. So all of their thought processes are the same, even though logically it doesn't really make sense. However, in this case, I don't think that Laurie was isolated enough. I don't think she was isolated. I don't think she was isolated enough to be manipulated, if that makes sense. What I think it was is that she read some books, she met a man she liked, hence him becoming hubby number 5, and she was greedy and she wanted to get a paycheck. That's what I believe when I was retrospectively looking at this case. We also have matricide and infanticide in this case, because she unalived her husband and her children. Though she may not directly have committed the crimes, she was involved in the planning, the conspiracy to commit. So we do essentially have some form of matricide and infanticide in this case. She found out Charles was going to confront her about her beliefs, and he was going to go and speak to Tammy about it. So she kind of enlisted her brother to be the person to take him down. And then the same with the children. The children were zombies and they needed to free them from possession, but she herself didn't essentially commit the crimes. However, she did conspire to commit the crimes. I do believe, though, that her main modus operandi essentially was for monetary gain. She was motivated by money. She knew that once Charles was out of the way, the children were out of the way, she'd get a paycheck. She'd be able to still continue to collect those social security benefits. And then she continued to do that even after the children had passed away. So it's kind of like, well, I get that maybe she had this warped belief of reality, but I also see some logic in what she was doing, because there was a means to an end with the husband and the 2 children. However, Banduri's theory of moral disengagement seems to fit this case more appropriately.